Greetings again, you fine, wonderful people who've seen videos from me quite a bit today. And tonight, well, we get one step closer to playoffs. We are 50 days out from the end of the regular season, and some pretty interesting results from tonight. Two home teams happy, two home teams not so happy, and this definitely affects the playoff picture. Now, due to the fact there are so many early games tomorrow, it being Hockey Day in America and all, and there will be hockey basically all day. I will try to split things up so I do reviews for the early games, so I'm not just killing it with this huge review late at night. Due to the games being split up the way they are, I will be doing the preview tonight. That will be up shortly after this is posted. So, again, I've got boards mostly made up for tomorrow. I kind of cheated and did that this afternoon. And yeah, so looking forward to that. It should be a fun weekend. First up, Montreal and Pittsburgh. Not a fun start to the weekend for Montreal. Now they got to go home and play against Dallas, a team that's playing pretty darn well right now. So for Montreal, and I said, coming out of the power rankings last week, I said, we'll see how Montreal does. I want to see Montreal against the quality opponents. And so far, minus Shea Weber, it has been kind of a horror show for Montreal. There were near misses early by the Penguins. Montreal gets power play. Price stopped a really good chance from Brian Rust. And it was a solid road period for Montreal in the first. So they come out of the first period in a scoreless tie and have to feel pretty good about that. Second period, we get a power play for the Pens, which leads to a shorthanded chance by Yoel Armia. Armia's fantastic. That being said, during that power play, Letang would end up scoring from Crosby and Hornqvist at 7:25. So despite their best efforts, Pittsburgh is ahead 1-0. The Penguins get another power play, which leads to, again, Yoel Armia getting a really good chance shorthanded that very nearly goes in the net. So Armia's having a good game, just not on the scoreboard. Aston Reese then almost scored. There was a power play for the Habs. They don't score on that. And then Zucker scores from Crosby and Simone at 18 minutes. Now, shortly after making it 2-0, Pittsburgh takes a penalty. So the Habs take advantage. Gallagher scores from Tatar and Mete at 19:06. So a minute and 6 seconds after it was a 2-goal lead, it's down to 1. Montreal feels pretty good until 36 seconds later, Zucker scores from Pettersson and Crosby, and that was one that really ticked off Carey Price quite substantially, I might add. And that was really a killer goal, that one. So it's 3-1 after 2. Third period, Price stopped McCann early on. The Penguins get a power play. And throughout this period, Montreal's pouring on pressure, and Jarry not really having much trouble with it. Jarry played a great game. Clearly, Jarry and Murray right now are one-upping one another, which is a great situation if you're Pittsburgh or if you're a Pittsburgh fan. And they continue to put the pressure on the Washington Capitals for first in that division and make it more difficult for other teams to catch them. Goaltender gets pulled with a little bit over 2 minutes left by Montreal. Aston Reese would get the empty netter from Tanev and Bluger at 18:16. Your final score is 4-1 for Pittsburgh. Price saves 24 out of 27 in the loss. Jarry saves 34 out of 35 in the win. Zucker gets the first star. Crosby second star. Jarry third star. Zucker basically exactly where he needs to be to score the goals. Crosby very happy to have him as his winger. It starts tonight. Power plays, both teams go 1 for 3. Shots 8-6 in favor of Pittsburgh in the first, 12-11 Pittsburgh in the second. In the third, Montreal, like I said, lots of pressure. They outshot Pittsburgh 18-8. Final shots 35-28 in favor of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have to feel pretty good coming out of this game. Montreal, again, they just looked overmatched at certain points, and just a couple of breakdowns here and there. And really outside of that, just some bad luck for Montreal overall. So we'll see how they do tomorrow night against Dallas. They really have to bounce back. Rangers, speaking of bouncing back. So the Rangers, who were struggling to get to 5 games above 500, now they're 7 above 500. And to me, they're legit. And a game like tonight shows me that they're legit. Now, what's interesting is David Quinn comes out and says, my starting goaltender is Shesterkin. I would imagine tomorrow morning he might come out and say, did I say Shesterkin? He's got a bad ankle. I meant Georgiev. Now, meanwhile, this is getting awkward. Buchnevich scores from Trouba and Kreider at 22 seconds. Second shot on net. and the Rangers score. So they get to Merzlikins early, which is important because Merzlikins doesn't allow goals. And it is really odd to see Georgiev tonight because it means Henrik Lundqvist is on the bench, which is just bizarre. Did you ever think you'd see the day that Lundqvist was third on the depth chart? Because that seems to be where we're at right now. Georgiev played last night, plays tonight. Lundqvist is third on the depth chart. So strange. The Rangers were the fresher team in that first period. They played very, very well. They get a late power play as well. So second period, Merzlikins stopped the Rangers' power play to start the second period. And then there was a power play for Columbus. It was a 4-minute power play and pressure, shots. This is where Columbus really starts to pick up the momentum. And Georgiev, pretty fantastic. There was a scrum. Lemieux's right in the middle of it. Anybody surprised? I like to write down their scrums and the fact that if it's Columbus or if it's the Rangers, it'll be Lemieux. If it's Montreal, it's going to be Gallagher. If it's Boston, it's going to be Marchand. If it's Calgary, it's going to be Tkachuk. LA, it'll be Doughty. Like, there's certain players that anytime there's a scrum, you go, I'll bet you, yeah, he's in there. So, there was a puck to the mouth on Lindgren then, Ryan Lindgren, which was not fun to look at, but he stayed in the game as far as I could tell. Tough player there. Georgiev absolutely stealing the second period until Bjorkstrand scores from Nyquist or Nyquist, I should say, in Harrington at 18:52. That makes it 1-1. So entering the third period, 1-1 tie. And it felt like Columbus had all the momentum coming out of the second. But third period was a little more evenly matched. Georgiev was keeping it tight early. Columbus was dominating the shots after that slow start. They pressed it around the 11-minute mark. But then the shift started. Back towards the Rangers. Momentum and all that. And the Rangers, they're a good team late. They showed that against Minnesota. They show it tonight against Columbus, as they go through and wipe out the two most recent expansion teams that are not Vegas or Seattle, since Seattle hasn't played yet. Kreider would get the game winner from Zibanejad and Fox at 16:49. Absolutely bizarre. Columbus calls a timeout with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. It didn't work out for them. The goaltender being pulled and all that leads to an empty netter for Strome from DiGiuseppe. And Panarin at 18:49. Hey, DiGiuseppe's not only back in the NHL, but looks like he's going to stay with the Rangers, which is great. And then Nyquist was guilty of a trip, but he had to trip him because otherwise it was an empty net goal. So that ends it. Georgiev saves 36 out of 37 in the victory. Merzlikins saves 25 out of 27 in the loss. Your three stars are Kreider, Georgiev, and Merzlikins. Both goaltenders fantastic. Power plays 0 for 3 for the Rangers, 0 for 2 for Columbus. Shots were 11-6 Rangers in the first, 22-7 Columbus in the second. Yeah, Georgiev was great. 10-9 in the third in favor of the Rangers. Final shots 37-28. Favor the New York Rangers. So we'll see if the Rangers can really fully rejoin this. But the Rangers' resurgence means it's even more difficult for Montreal because now that's another team they have to pass over to get into the playoffs. So it just gets more difficult. San Jose. And I've said this recently, I don't think San Jose's given up on their chances of making it to the playoffs. And at the very least, they want to make sure they make it as difficult for other teams in the West as possible. So they go into Winnipeg tonight and played a pretty good game. And I'm going to say right now, my honorary third star for the night, my honorary star of the night is Aaron Dell. I don't know how he doesn't get a star tonight. I have no idea. There were boos for Evander Kane right off the bat. So Kane getting the hero's welcome from Winnipeg. Understandable on both sides. Hellebuck looked pretty good early. The shots were 3-3 at the 8.5-minute mark. Not really indicating just how explosively offensive this game's going to get. Dell robbed Wheeler. The Jets challenged a Sharks goal for goalie interference. I thought it was a questionable attempt to challenge it. Sorensen does end up getting credited with a goal from True and Gambrell at 14:51. Since that goal counts, that means it's a power play for the Sharks. The shots were 12-3 in favor of San Jose with 2.5 minutes left. And the announcers were doing their best to say, hey, the shots don't really indicate how much the Jets have had the puck, and it's not really that bad. But when you're not getting a single shot that hits the net, I don't care about the posts and the crossbar and whatever else, and the shot blocks. They just weren't getting shots. Second period, power play for the Sharks. Jets are stuck on 3 shots. The Jets get a power play, and that seems to spur them on. Finally, they start getting shots on net, and one of them goes in. Connor from Wheeler and Pionk at 8 minutes and 21 seconds. The momentum firmly behind them. Blake Wheeler would get a goal from Kopp and Ehlers at 9 minutes and 47 seconds. Then the Jets get a power play. They're up 2-1. They get a power play, and Sorensen had a shorthanded breakaway, which had to give Jets fans in attendance, some heart moments of their own here. But you know what? The Sharks then decided we can't get the puck in, so if we push the goalie in, then we can just push the puck in as well. Now, what's weird to me is that coming out of all of that, the Sharks end up with a power play. Now, I understand there was a scrum after, but didn't they push the goalie in? Wouldn't that have been goalie interference? Don't you at least give offsetting or something? But, yeah, power play for the Sharks, which, of course, leads over into the third period. Hellebuyck wasn't giving up rebounds, but San Jose wasn't giving up. Absolutely not giving up tonight. Melker Karlsson from Shellman and Nason at 5 minutes and 18 seconds. And so it's a 2-2 tie. And Ehlers, this is where it's worthy of note that Ehlers took a lot of physical abuse tonight, whether it was hits, pucks, whatever it was. He was pretty banged up by the time that third period rolled around. Meyer, however, would score from LeBanc and Burns at 6 minutes and 47 seconds. And that makes it 3-2. The Jets do get a power play. During said power play, Dell stopped Wheeler. Absolutely great chance for Wheeler, and Dell puts a stop to it. So they pull the goalie with 2 minutes left because they're down by 1, and it's the right move to make. The Sharks called a timeout with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. And then there was an empty net chance that Connor just couldn't bury. So that's a problem. The Jets call a timeout with 15.7 seconds left, and Aaron Dell just continues robbing Jets in that last minute. It was absolutely a spectacular display of goaltending by Aaron Dell in the last minute of that period. Very reminiscent of what Hellebuyck did to the Sharks earlier this season. So this is the first loss for the Winnipeg Jets where they were leading going into the third period. So that facade is broken. And again, they continue to be a team that struggles at home more than on the road. Their home record, if this team misses the playoffs, their home record is going to be the reason why. And then there was a scrum at the end buzzer. Pionk tries to take a desperate shot at the net. The Sharks don't like it, so there's a little bit of a scrum and some shoving that goes on at the 20-minute mark of the period and at the end of the game. So your final score, 3-2 in favor of the Sharks. Dell saves 29 out of 31 in the victory. Hellebuyck saves 32 out of 35 in the loss. Your 3 stars are Meyer, Sorensen, and Wheeler. Power plays 0 for 3 for San Jose, 1 for 3 for the Jets. Shots 13-3 in the first in favor of San Jose, 11 apiece in the second, 17-11 in the third in favor of the Jets. Final shots 35-31 in favor of San Jose. So this is again to me an indicator that the Sharks haven't given up. They're saying until we're mathematically out, we're not going to stop playing, and B, if we can play spoiler, we'll do it. So good effort, good overall game from the Sharks, and a frustrating result for the Jets because they were robbed by Dell. I don't know how Dell doesn't get a 3-star selection. Meyer, Sorensen, and Wheeler may have had good games, but yeah, Dell should be in there. All right, last up is New Jersey. The New Jersey Devils went in against Carolina tonight and kind of turned out the way I'd expected, but not in the beginning. So early power play for the Devils, which didn't go anywhere, but Carolina on their first shot gets a goal. Niederreiter gets that one from Fleury and Netchus at 3 minutes and 43 seconds. So tough result there. So first shot, 6.5 minutes into the first period, the shots are 7-1 in favor of the Devils. Yeah, the Devils were peppering the net, and Mrazek was equal to the task. New Jersey, however, would score at 7:07. It's Mueller with a nice goal off a feed from Zajac. Gusev with the second assist on that one, and it's 1-1. But it's New Jersey. So Fogle gets a goal on the third shot. Pesce and Stahl with the assist at 11:23. So coming out of that first period, the shots would even up towards the end of the period, but it had to be frustrating to have only allowed 3, and I think at that point they'd had 9, and they're behind 2-1. It had to be frustrating for the Devils. So second period, Demang denied Svechnikov early. The Canes got an early power play, and the shots were actually 5-1 in favor of Carolina at the 8-minute mark of the period, as the second period was really kind of theirs. Svechnikov would score from Teravainen and Aho at 13:46. That makes it 3-1, and it's right about there that you can basically rule the Devils out. And I hate to say that, but it basically. This is the way the Devils' season has gone in games like this. Power play for the Canes. There was a shorthanded post for Zajac. Zajac went in on a nice break. If that one goes in, we have a completely different outlook for the game, but it didn't. Third period, 1 minute and 44 seconds in, when Marty Necas scores to make it 4-1 game. The Devils get a power play. Jordan Stahl had the shorthanded break, came in a little bit slow on it, ended up being denied by Domingue. And honestly, after allowing 2 goals on the first 3 shots he faced, Domingue had a pretty good game. Edmondson, however, would get they called it an insurance marker, but I was like, well, I don't know. I don't think they needed, they're not going to allow that many goals to New Jersey, but yeah, it's fine. Edmondson gets the goal. Nice goal from Niederreiter and Pesce at 14:36. 21 seconds later, Anderson answers back for New Jersey. Merkley with the assist at 14:57. The Devils would pull the goalie because why not? You're not making the playoffs. You're down by 3. Why not make it interesting? They just couldn't generate a goal. So your final score is 5-2 in favor of Carolina. Domingue saves 26 out of 31. Mrazek saves 35 out of 37. Niederreiter, Pesce, and Mrazek are your 3 stars as Carolina sweeps that. Power plays 0 for 4 for New Jersey, 0 for 2 for Carolina. Shots 11-8 in the first in favor of New Jersey, 14-8 in favor of Carolina in the second. And Mrazek earned that 3rd star in the 3rd period as the Carolina Hurricanes were outshot 18-9 by New Jersey. Final shots 37-31 for the visiting team. Carolina comes out with the victory, and they avoid the dreaded trap. So for New Jersey, it's just another one of those games. You take your positives out of it where you can, and for Carolina, they get a much-needed 2 points to stay within a couple of points of a playoff spot, pending results for tomorrow. So there you go. You guys are all caught up in tonight's action. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, and hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.